everybody. My name is Mark Stanifer, and he is Craig Fullen, and we're back once again with another installment. But today we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're about 5 weeks or so here in Central Ohio into this stay-at-home COVID-19 shelter-in-place season, and Craig, I got to imagine you're a bit like me. I'm starting to go a little stir crazy and just feeling like I want things to return back to normal as soon as possible. And I'm ready for this to be over, which takes us to the topic today. And that is, what are some inspirational type of movies that maybe we've forgotten about or maybe haven't heard of, and would be good to put eyes on instead? There's all kinds of content to consume out there, but what about some things in the lane of inspiring that we could take a look at? And so that's what we're going to get into today. We're going to have a little fun with this, rip off a few different titles, maybe some you've heard of, maybe some you haven't. And hopefully there'll be some good content for you guys to go consume when you're like me, going a little bit stir crazy.
Sounds good, Mark. So where do you want to start? What type of movie should we discuss first?
Well, you know this, that usually when people think inspiring stories and movies, there is this bias towards sports. So let's just hit on a couple of the ones that come to your mind, a couple of ones that come to my mind as we think about the sports genre here.
Sure. So give you a few off my list right off the bat. So I think of Miracle, which is about the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. I think of Invincible, about Vince Papale and the Philadelphia Eagles, and he was a bartender who made the Eagles team. I think about The Rookie with Dennis Quaid, who was a high school teacher who tried out at like age 36 and ended up being in the major leagues. And just a few others that I throw out there that people might not have heard of. There's one called Greater. It's about Brandon Burlsworth, who was a walk-on football player at Arkansas. It's really kind of his life story. It's just a really good one. And also Forever Strong, really one of my favorite movies about the Highland rugby team out in Utah, and it really inspired me and really shaped some of the philosophy that I have when I coach athletes. So what about you, Mark?
Oh yeah, those are cool. Some of those I've not even heard of, so you're making me want to go watch them now. The two that came to mind most quickly are two classics. So there's the Remember the Titans story about the integration of football in the South, and there's so many storylines that play out in that one. That's a good one with Denzel Washington as one of the lead actors. And then the other one that I'm sure most people have seen, but maybe have not seen in a while, is the Indiana basketball story wrapped up in the movie title Hoosiers. The underdogs, the Cinderella story for state champions, and but that's a classic that if you haven't seen in a while, there's so much good that you can take away from that film.
Yeah, let's run the picket fence there, Mark.
There you go. I know this is speaking your language for sure.
Just one other one that somewhat of a sports related movie that I know both you and I have seen is Soul Surfer, which is just a great inspirational story of Bethany Hamilton, who we've talked about before. So what other?
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, so when you get out of the sports genre, there are still lots of inspirational stories out there as well, right? And so when you transition out of sports, what are some of the titles that come to your mind, Craig?
Sure. So one that I just thought about, and you mentioned kind of the racial issues and the integration issues with Remember the Titans. I think of the movie Glory, which was about the first all-black regiment in the Civil War. It stars Matthew Broderick. Just a great movie. Denzel Washington's also in it, one of Denzel's first big roles that he had. So I would recommend Glory. Then I also would, just even Mr. Rogers, which is one that's out now. And I'm still thinking about that movie a couple weeks after I saw it, and just what a quality individual and inspiration that he was and how he lived his life. And then, probably even throw a few like fiction movies in there too, such as National Treasure, which I think just gives just a great story and some historical context, and it's just fun and it's exciting, and there's always something coming up next in the movie that you weren't thinking about. And then maybe last but not least, Groundhog Day. And I think that
Groundhog
Day, and come on, it's quarantine day. We've talked about that, and I kind of even posted about Groundhog Day, and there's so many lessons about controlling what you can control, always improve every day, and serve others. But I was on a call the other day with Olympic silver medalist wrestler named Jake Herbert, and he talked about the lessons of Groundhog Day being the fact that, if you think about it, Bill Murray's character, in the beginning when he got stuck in, the Groundhog Day over and over, what he kept doing was he was frustrated, and he just, was angry and really wasn't making any progress with it. Then he just kind of started satisfying his own desires and going to comfort and things like that. And we've kind of probably seen that, we've been in denial, we've been angry about what's going on. And then we start, seeking comfort and everything. But then he finally learned the lesson and started using his time productively and using it to improve himself. And that's kind of maybe the big lesson of the story there. So what about you?
I love that. Yeah, I love that. I have to go back and watch Groundhog Day now just to see that play out. It's been too long. There's a story a number of years ago that I know you're familiar with about the miracle on the Hudson when Captain Sullinger landed that jet on the water and everybody escaped. It was captured in the movie Sully, and what a fantastic story. It's certainly a fantastic outcome, but think about the challenges that captain, that pilot was facing. First flight with his co-pilot, and they've got a loss of engine. They're not going to be able to make it back to an airport. So talk about all of the negative stuff hitting them all at once. And yet the training, the confidence, the ability to move past fear and do the job that was his to do is why 200 and some people were able to walk off of that ship, off of that plane, and make it safely to shore. So that's a fantastic story, and it's a movie worth watching again. The other one that I bet many of our, if not most of our viewers are going to be unfamiliar with is one called The Butterfly Circus. Now, this isn't really a movie. It's a short. It's 20 minutes on YouTube. You can just YouTube search The Butterfly Circus. But it stars Nick, we'll just go with V. I don't know how to pronounce his last name appropriately, but he doesn't have any arms. He doesn't have any legs. And he's a star in this show. But it highlights the difference between victim thinking and not victim thinking, even despite difficult and seemingly overwhelming challenges that he was facing. I just watched it again today. It's a fantastic and inspirational story that I highly recommend.
Awesome. Well, that's one that I'll need to watch. A few others I'll throw out there, which I think are fun if people want to check them out. Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James, just a really fun family movie. I also will throw out, I plan to watch Unbroken, which you may have seen, about the person who was, I guess he was an Olympic athlete, and then with the World War and everything like that, and being in captivity. So I'm looking forward to watching that one here soon. How about you? Any last ones you want to throw out there?
Well, I think you have given me enough to either rewatch or to watch for the first time. So it's a great list that you came up with, and hopefully our viewers have some good content that they can take away and enjoy. Even in the midst of this difficult season, there's still ways to be inspired and encouraged. And I think every one of these movies will do that. So Craig, man, thanks for bringing your movie library to the show today. And viewers, if you want to connect with us, maybe even give us some of your recommendations, there's ways to connect with us at the end. Just hit us up with our handles either on Twitter for Craig or Facebook for me. And once again, thanks, Craig. It's been fun. Enjoyed this version today. And viewers, we'll see you back soon with the next installment. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.